Recording in progress.
All right. Is everybody ready already?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, guys. All right. Let's hit it. Hello, and welcome to our humble little podcast. This is Atlantis After Dark, the greatest place in all of cyberspace. I was digging a hole in the garden when I found some old coins. I was about to run in and tell my wife when I remembered why I was digging a hole in the first place. I'll tell you what, I'm ready to go already. You guys are too. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it and meet today's All-Stars. Warming up in the bullpen. The other day, he ran home as fast as he could, took his wife into the bedroom, threw her on the bed, and pulls the blankets over top of him. She was shocked. He hasn't been like this since they were young. He says, look, my new watch glows in the dark. It's Biff by Adam West. What's the word, dude?
What's going on, man?
Hey, we're hanging in there. We're hanging in there. Glad to have you back after an absence last week.
Yeah, I know. I've been slacking.
You slacker. All right, welcome back to the show, buddy. Glad to have you here. Next up, he is the Sorcerer Supreme of cyberspace. After 20 years of being together, his wife found out that he's been using a dildo to have sex with her their entire marriage. He was so angry. She confronted him. She said, "What's with the dildo?" He looked back at her and said, "What's with the kids?" It's Retpmus. What's happening, Big Kahuna?
Oh my god.
That's a pretty good one. You're on it today.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but thank you, thank you. Another person, welcome back from being MIA last week. Glad to have you back, buddy.
Oh, it's great to be back. Missed it.
Right on, right on. Let's have one today. Joining us today, her dog died recently, and her boyfriend tried to cheer her up by getting her an identical one, but it just made her more upset. She screamed, "What am I supposed to do with two dead dogs?" It's the lovely and talented Miss Junk. How are you today, DCL Junk?
Another great one. Thank you. I'm good.
Well, you were here last week, so I can't welcome you back, but I can say,
I
damn glad to have you here this week, too.
Thank you.
All right. Up next, he's the gangster of ganja. The other day, he decided to visit his childhood home. He asked the residents if he could come inside because he was feeling nostalgic, but they refused and slammed the door in his face. I said, "Buddy, that's rough." He said, "Yeah, my parents are the worst." It's Sekju. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me. And I know I'm always fucking here, so you don't have to welcome me back.
All right, all right. Well, I can still extend the grace to you that welcome to the show today, and we're damn glad to have you.
Happy
When you
to be
said
here.
come inside and like orphanage, I was really thinking it was going to go in a darker direction.
Like, I was hoping it was going to be a Batman style joke, but it was just
thought it was gonna be
parents hate me
Oh,
joke.
yeah, I'm sorry.
A dick joke, you know, like
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I have any more of those lined up for today, but I'm sorry to disappoint you, Tewty.
It's all right.
By the way, speaking of which, everybody knows this next All-Star. As he gets older, he gets more sentimental, and he starts remembering all the people he lost along the way. Maybe his career as a tour guide wasn't the right choice. It's Tewtytron. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Yeah, that's fair.
And if you look to your right,
I would do that.
you would do a tour guide. You would be a good tour guide, I bet.
I went on a tour. There's a boat tour in Chicago. It's called like the Architecture Boat Tour, and that tour guide, fucking phenomenal.
Wow.
Knew everything about every building, and I'm like, they all look the same, and he's like, "Fuck you."
I feel like I'm scared to go on a boat tour because of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and I'm afraid Frank Reynolds is going to take over the boat. I don't know if you've ever seen that episode, but Jesus Christ.
I have not.
Oh, you got to. You got to. Anyway.
Yeah,
Sorry.
No, you're
Sorry
good.
for anybody that doesn't like that show.
No, I like that show. It's not destination watching for me. It's not destination viewing, but it is a good show. If it's on, like I'll watch it. It's like, wow, who doesn't love Danny DeVito?
Right?
Truth.
Right.
Man's a saint.
Yes.
And he was the penguin, for fuck's sake.
That's right.
Apparently doesn't.
Oh, and by the way, on some stupid list the other day, he was named the greatest penguin of all time. and I just
I don't know about that. I mean,
I just said,
Burgess Meredith, anyone?
yeah, exactly. I just
Yeah.
right away, I was just like, oh my god, this list is useless.
Morgan
And I
Freeman. Oh wait, that was a different Penguin movie. Never mind.
I feel like there's like a concerted effort out there to canonize like everything Tim Burton has done recently. It's just I don't know. It feels tangible.
Yeah, well, they're trying to introduce
Not
it all
trying
back.
to put down his work either. I feel like everyone's like everything he touches turns to gold. I don't know.
I mean, it's always like, oh yeah, it's visually stunning, but but I mean, there's like
yeah,
Big
but the
Fish,
Penguin didn't need to be
Beetlejuice
a
were great,
mutant
Pee-wee,
flipper-handed mutant baby
Yeah.
down. Yeah, like I appreciated it when I was younger, but when I think back on it as a DC fan, I'm like, what the fuck? Like Batman fans must have seriously at the time been like, what the fucking fuck?
Yeah, or I mean, going back another film where the Joker kills Bruce Wayne's parents. That doesn't happen. That's not supposed to happen. Damn you, Tim.
But when you're
Burton.
a kid, you don't think.
Yeah,
of
when
those
you're a
things
kid, you
if
don't
you're
think
not,
about
like,
it. Yeah,
deep into the comics. You know?
No, I hated the Penguin in that movie. I thought it was just so like
Corny.
I mean, I don't know.
I love him in the Jersey Mike's commercials.
Yes.
yeah, he's great.
I love the sauce.
He's so much better at that than he is with Penguin.
Poor Danny DeVito. He gets a bad rap.
See, and the character in that commercial is basically Frank Reynolds from It's Always Sunny.
Yeah,
Just saying.
yes, that it is. Anyways, I could talk about Danny DeVito all day, just as much as the next guy, but I think we should get into some DCL. And this is a conversation that I haven't dreaded having, but it's something that I know look, there's no way around it. We have to revise the Raid Essentials list. And I just happen to have the Raid Essentials list right here in front of me. And I see we have Superwoman, Darkseid, Hippolyta, Arcus, Spectre, Terra, Owlman, Atrocitus, and Riddler on our list. Now, the first question I'm going to ask is, who do we remove from the Raid Essentials list, if anybody?
Do you have a visual that you can put in the chat for us?
I do, yeah. Here.
That would be helpful. Thank you.
I could tell you there's two right away that I would eliminate.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be and others up for discussion. But right away I would eliminate Riddler and Owlman.
Right.
Riddler, yes. Owlman is a maybe for me.
Okay.
I think the problem with Riddler
I last used Owlman. I just don't know when I last used Owlman.
Go ahead, DCL Joe.
Yep.
Sorry. I think the problem with Riddler's a lot like the problem with Terra, in that like Riddler only works for certain characters. So like someone like Trigon or Superboy Prime, who eliminate all their buffs before their turn, like they're useless. So I think they're not really essential, but against certain tunes they're actually really good. So someone who actually keeps, like if they were facing Necron, they would both be, or I mean, if Riddler were facing Necron, I think he would be great. But yeah. Without that, you really don't need him.
When I think through this list, it's a lot of people put the term essential on their Raid Essential list.
Here we go.
And I don't think they understand the definition of the word essential. And I'm not talking about us here. I'm talking about other folks. And when I think about this and I look at this and I say, we were chatting about it the other day with Witty, because Witty said she does think Terra still is essential. And we were chatting about it and saying, well, last Scarecrow raid, we didn't even use Terra. Most people didn't even use Terra, which means I'm going on 18 months without using Terra in raids. I don't remember the last time I used Riddler. I don't remember the last time I used Owlman, which means they're probably over 18 months.
Well, hold on. So who was the bonus characters for that?
Well, that's the thing.
Raid?
The last Scarecrow raid, it was Black Adam was a 5-time. So he just took over the whole raid.
Right. Exactly.
So that's why
Black
Terra
Adam
wasn't
there.
needed, because everything was just destroyed. I don't doubt that Terra has use inside a Scarecrow raid. I just don't know if 1 out of 12 months, or in this case, 1 out of 24 months, because of a good bonus, makes it essential.
But you also got to think what you're saying as essential. Terra and Owlman would just be essential for that one particular raid, but none of the rest. So how do you want to make this essential for everything or essential for specific raids?
Well,
So
yeah,
that-
we'll need subcategories.
That bears the question: do we add a fourth category called something like situational?
Yeah,
Because right now the categories we have in the list that we put together are raid gods, support, muscle. Those were our 3 categories.
Which, by the way, Arcus needs to get out of that little muscle.
Yeah.
So let me ask a question about Arcus though, because this one I think is probably the best debate we could have. I think there needs to be a green striker on the list because we need a green striker because there is no raid god that's green. And so I still use Arcus if we don't have a good bonus. I've used Arcus the last, 3 of the last 4 months because we didn't have a good green bonus or we didn't have a powerful red bonus for Red Day. So
I don't necessarily think that it's like I don't ever use a green muscle. Like I have a red muscle most of the time, and that's generally one of the bonus characters, and then I have Spectre on the side. Like Spectre, if none of the bonus characters can do it for me, Spectre will.
Mm-hmm.
Even against red big bosses.
Well, most of the time reds are taken care of because in the late game, on the last 2 days when it's the big bosses, none of the big bosses are red. The lowest boss on the last days is red. It was like what is it, the 52 or the 50 something? That one's a red boss.
They alternate between red and blue, depending on the raid.
No, they don't.
Oh, they do. I guarantee you. If you look at the 51s are most frequently blues. And then the 68s are most frequently reds.
The 90s are always green.
Yes.
Yes, correct.
Yes,
And
90s are always green.
The bosses, the legendary bosses are always blue or green. Depending on the level. It's the 120
yes.
150, they're always blue or green.
Yes.
So like I guess the
Day 2 legendaries are red.
The 68s are red. Yep, that's fair.
Yeah. But I have seen like a raid or 2 where it's flopped. It's switched and like the 68s were blues. It's only happened once or twice in my memory, so I know it has happened. Like they have once or twice it's happened.
Well,
but the second day legendary boss is red.
Yes.
Right, but it's such a low day that it doesn't matter what character you slot, you'll still destroy it. Easily.
What about for alliance bosses though? When we get red alliance bosses and we don't have a good bonus, I still utilize
Are the alliance bosses on the last 2 days, are they red?
No, the last 2 day alliance bosses are greens. Day 2 alliance bosses always settle on red. Typically, I don't think I've ever seen a raid where they haven't been red once you get to the highest level boss.
And that's why I think
the lowest destroys those bosses too. So that's why I think that there's validity. Like Witty's going to hate this discussion.
Oh, she's going to hate Arcus. Right. I wish she was here.
And her Arcus is awesome because I think it's RB3 or maybe even RB4 at this point. I don't know. But you can get the same damage output out of Lois with multiple call assists on the boss, and you can actually get it faster, I think, because her animations might be a little faster. So,
right.
I just use Darkseid, Lois, and Spectre, and nobody else ever.
Yeah, and that's valid completely because it works.
I was gonna say, well, maybe we should go around and say, like, who do you use for each one for each person? Like Retpmus, you said you use those 3 pretty much. Like Tewty, who are the ones that you like? Maybe that would be help like narrow it down.
I think it largely depends because a lot of the time lately our bonuses have been really good. Like Rocket, this last siege was amazing. I actually haven't used Superwoman in like probably 8 months just because our bonuses have been pretty solid.
I have used her, but not as frequently for the same reason that Tewty's saying. Like the bonus tunes have actually been usable in a lot of raids recently, so I haven't been going to the raid gods as much, so much as maybe like Darkseid for the call assists.
Yeah.
But I know we haven't gotten into the new tunes that need to be added to the essentials list, and some of those have some major impact on why we don't use the tunes on the current list, I think. I think that's a big part of it.
I think the question bug also like screwed everything up for the past like few raids. Question / Dawnstar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
The way I look at a raid, like I base it around whoever pairs best with Emerald Archer.
Damn.
He has been present on other people's raid essential lists. And by the way, so has Guy Gardner. I don't
Guy Gardner.
And Hawkman. And Hawkman.
And Hawkman.
On someone
Hawkman
else.
was badass.
did have validity when he first came out. Like he was soloing the boss by himself without being a bonus because he would just consistently stun them and keep taking turns.
I remember
That's
that.
why he was good.
I had him when he first came out. I don't remember him doing that, but I remember him being good as a 3x. And every time he had the multiplier, he was awesome because he kept getting the strength up so he was taking damage. Kind of like Metallo's only good when he's a multiplier.
We can probably all agree that, like, say, Darkseid, Superwoman, and Spectre are all essential.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's what we have on the list right now. They're all essential raid gods, and then we have.
We have Spectre under muscle.
I think he should move up to god probably.
Really? Because I don't use Spectre that much.
But he's still
other people might.
Everybody else does. It doesn't revolve around you, Biff.
I know that. I'm just saying I view Spectre as muscle, not a god.
I gotcha.
I just noticed that Darkseid's Omega Beams have an LOL at the end of it, and it's making me smile so much right now.
He's good at putting little jokes in.
Oh, he's so good at it.
That's hysterical.
I mean, if we want to move Spectre to the raid god, I have no problem with that, and then we could just get rid of the muscle category if everyone is on the train that Arcus is no longer.
Yeah, I kind of am on that train. I agree.
Okay.
And if everyone agrees, I know Witty doesn't, but
I think Cyborg beefs up better if you were using him over and over than Arcus would anyway. As a green, because he keeps stacking.
But we've tested. I haven't seen that in my testing because I tried Cyborg as a non-bonus and it didn't go so hot versus Arcus.
Why is that Arcus so stoned looking?
That's a good question.
He looks like a Big Mouth character.
Yeah, he does. He looks like a little bit like the hormone monster. I love that we all knew that immediately.
I love that show. Yeah,
that's so fucking good, Tewty. It's like one of our favorites.
Kroll's
the man.
So he basically got the raid gods all set, right? Then is everybody in agreement? It's Lois, it's Darkseid, it's Hippo, and it's Spectre.
No, I think we talked about last time is maybe moving Hippo to support, keeping her on the list, but moving her to support.
Okay,
yeah.
So
I think I can agree with that because she's still useful,
right?
And I don't think did we mention like Atrocitus is down there under raid support? Like I think with his rework, you might even want to consider him in the muscle category if we're going to keep it at all. Only because he's like, I think probably the best one to pair anybody with on the day one bosses when we do a lot of our work, like staying ahead in the rankings. So for us, at least for Atlantis After Dark and any of the many, many lower powered alliances that really have to build up whatever raid lead they're going to get on those lower bosses because they might not have the higher end firepower. I think he's a pretty important raid tune. So I don't know.
No, he's on our list, and I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he is still support. I think he's a day one very important character. And if you think about, you just brought up the perspective of the lower level alliances. I'll just take it from our perspective. We finish every day one, either first or second, and we use HRO every single raid on day one.
I'm a little conflicted about using, or I'm a little conflicted about the first couple of days just because they are so fucking easy. Yes, Atrocitus is phenomenal on that first day, but I feel like if we're going to keep him on the list, we need to specify that he falls off after that first day because he's great for that initial burst, but once his enrages on his team are gone, he's just kind of sitting there useless.
Oh yeah, no, I've never used him after day one.
Sure,
exactly.
That doesn't mean
day one
essential.
but I use him every day one. So
you're right. Like I don't have an issue him being there.
I mean, we could just put a little asterisk or something to say day one and day 2 to 3 or something like that for other characters.
Well,
You
then
know,
that would
just-
be a situational raid boss,
That-
wouldn't it?
So if we add the category situational, we can put him there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just because it's
Well, in
the
in
first
that
day.
case,
Like, even if you don't use Atrocitus, is like you could figure out something else that's almost just as fast. You know, like Atrocitus
Almost,
is good,
yep.
and he is probably the fastest clearer of the day one bosses. But he's not like it's not like I couldn't go through my roster and be like, okay, this would also work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, but
Well-
it's a race day one. There's no doubt
so
about
then I
that.
feel like Hippolyta fits in that same category because I can't think of the last time I've used her on day 3 or 4 for any of the bosses. Like, yes, she's relevant, but only to me on day 1 or 2.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
So then she would fall in that same category. I'm not saying drop her
Yeah.
off the list or anything, but if we're making that 4th category, I mean,
No.
what's
Yeah.
the difference than support or situational? I guess.
Right. I guess we're splitting hairs to a degree, and maybe that's the right way to look at it. I don't know.
Like,
Well,
yeah,
now
I feel like Riddler should drop off, like we were saying before, just because I can't think of a situation where he's useful at this point.
maybe the gods would be for everything, and support would be the situational people.
Yeah, because I feel like when we talk
Yeah.
about the new tunes that need to be added to the list, you're going to see like other
Right.
gods being added here and other people that we would say are maybe support because they're
Because-
situational.
Because
And
I
like
mean, help me go
DCL
through it
Joe.
really quick. We haven't discussed Owlman and Riddler yet, or have we discussed that we're going to flick them like boogers?
flick them like boogers. Yeah.
I
I
Flick
would
'em like
flick them
boogers.
like
Okay.
boogers.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're flicked, right?
They
They're
don't fall
gone.
under essential, I feel like.
Right.
Like,
And
But
then
like
our,
Mr.
our- and,
Everett-
and I think the consensus was we're also I won't flick him like a booger, but we're dropping Arcus.
Okay. So
And
I've
that's the
got
consensus,
to-
correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Arcus
Okay.
is flicked like a booger. We can all agree.
Okay,
Like,
and
like a
Terra.
stoned alien booger.
Oh, Witty's
And
going to be so
Witty,
fucking
I
mad.
did not
Terra.
flick.
I didn't
Arcus
call
like
him a booger. Witty, listen, Sekju did not call him a booger and did not flick him.
You call him a hormone monster.
So then,
I
then
did.
we also eliminated the muscle category.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
But let's because we're kind of replacing people, right? Because Hippolyta is not as good as the question is anymore, right?
Right.
So we need to talk about who we're putting on the team.
I agree.
Yeah.
So
It's
And
kind
the
of sad.
question
Like
isn't viable.
I was using like what I remember. I forget what raid it was. I was using like Darkseid, Spectre, and Hippolyta or something like that. And I was thinking, wow, this is great. But then I took Hippolyta out, and like I got like about 20 million more points. It's like she does something, but it's because she takes so much time with her moves, and sometimes she does that strength up instead of int up. It's like, yeah, you're holding us back.
Right.
Well, the problem is on auto, she always does the strength up. She
Yeah.
never does shields up on auto. So unless you're running her with the strength based tunes, which works great with Lois, but again, you get better production from the question, and typically with Lois, it's okay. Now you have the same affinity with the question, and you're
Right.
getting the crit chance up and the crit damage up stacked on top of Lois is already insane stacking of those things. So you just get even more damage over time, of course.
So Tewty, you were using Hippolyta recently. Tell me why you used her over other options.
Because her and Rocket paired well together, and that's specifically it. Rocket was a strength-based character, and Hippolyta's AI focuses on the strength ups, not the int ups. So Hippolyta was a solid choice specifically for that raid. And she's not like useless in raid. She doesn't need to go away. I just think that the question is also just as good because I actually stopped using Hippolyta after I think it was Sekju who was like, the question is making it 10 times easier to kill these bosses with like within 20 seconds. And I was sitting there at like 45 with Hippolyta. So Hippolyta, like for those people who don't have question, is still useful. Like she'll get the job done, but the question is just better at it.
Yeah.
So are we adding?
So
Go ahead.
So obviously the question is added.
Right.
I'm assuming we are still considering, even though she's now one of the best characters in raids. Are we still considering her a support? because she's a support character, or are we considering her a god?
I think she's a god for the same reason that Hippolyta was sitting up there in the raid gods category, because she is the best option to get that raid engine going and murdering bosses. Like, it basically doesn't matter what team you drop her onto. If you're not using the question every day after day one, you're crazy, because she makes everything so much faster, especially if you have a heroic bonus tune and you just run the question plus that bonus tune. The second she calls that triple call assist running her second move, it's done. The match is done. So you're crazy. I just don't see where she fits anywhere else other than raid gods, because there's no reason not to run her on every team after day 2.
Well, as AB said earlier, we're splitting hairs, I guess, because I'm looking at her as her benefit is support, but yet you're right. There's no reason not to use her, which makes her that god.
She's just too good at her job.
Right. She's too good at support to be in the support category.
Right. Yeah. And then whether she was bugged or not, when she was bugged, it was insane. But even without her bugs, it's like, holy crap.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So
Okay.
if we then we have 4 now in Raid God.
Yep.
Darkside, Lois, Spectre, Question.
That's it.
We have in support, or do we combine support and situational, to Tewty's point, and just have 2 categories, support / situational?
You know, I think
Hippo.
I've just got it like that. I've got it like raid support right now. I didn't put situational, but I could put raid / situational support or whatnot. But
the only reason I believe situational, it could be either A, what Tewty said about Atro, or B, Terra, because Terra is not as much support as she is very situational.
I mean, I feel like we could have our own separate section for like specifically Scarecrow and then Trigon / Superboy Prime, because those are the only 3 raids that require any kind of different tunes to use. And then the other 9 months out of the year, we get to use our normal set.
What tunes?
I'm sorry, I was just going to say that's a really good point, that those 2 raid bosses are the only ones you really have to adjust for. Other than, I mean, I guess Scarecrow too.
But what are you adjusting for Superboy Prime? Like, there's not another
Lois
character that's not on here.
Lois won't ramp anywhere near as quickly because you can't debuff Trigon or Superboy Prime. So when she attacks a silenced character and gets more crit chance and crit damage and strength ups, that doesn't happen on those bosses. So she doesn't do as well. So it's easier to rely on Spectre for that specific raid.
Yep.
And that's why she kind of drops off there. But also with Scarecrow, clearly Terra or Owlman. And that's why I thought Owlman shouldn't necessarily go anywhere, because he does help on those raids. If you like, from the perspective of a low tier player at this point, if you don't have like the bonus characters or like somebody who can't miss or whatever, Owlman and Terra are still very good characters to help you get through Scarecrow.
And I think that actually touches into a potential new addition to that situational category, again, for those raids for lower powered players. White Lantern Kyle Rayner, because of his call assist on every single move, and the fact that he can throw out the awareness and the damage immunity to keep you alive from the Superboy Prime punches and Trigon counters and everything. It gives you the opportunity to keep your characters alive. So, he's another character who isn't going to be raid essential every time in like God level, but I definitely think that he should be considered for the raid support like level, because a lot of people do have him and he adds useful because you can count on that call assist. And if you're running him plus a bonus tune, you're going to get a lot of bonus damage.
And I think we just also have to keep in the mindset that like as end game players, most of us don't really need this list. This list is for people who don't have a roster that's fully like built. Like these are the characters that you need to build if you need help through these raids.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting perspective, because I actually always in my head said this was like an end game list, but you make a really good point that
if you're end game, you probably don't need this. You're smart enough to have okay, I have X, Y, and Z here. Let's plug that in, and it works.
Yeah, or you're in the Discord communities where we discuss the comps we're using, and it's like, here, try this. Join our communities, people.
That's right.
But we created this list. I don't even know if it was to be informational. I think we originally created this list because we were so angry at all the other lists.
Convoluted.
Right.
Like how awful they were.
And that's probably why those lists are so expansive, because it's also like, okay, these are for people who don't have rosters. Although, like, it's misleading because, like, Guy Gardner, you're telling them that they need to build Guy fucking Gardner for
Right.
the raids, and you're just like, no, actually, he's gonna drag you down more than he's gonna help you.
Yeah.
Although Guy Gardner is 3 times due into this month.
Oh, well, fuck me.
Probably still.
He's probably going to be useful. He's one again, like Hawkman is useful as a 3x or a 5x, but you're not going to want to like prepare for that one raid every 2 years. You might get that guy. He's no Orm. He's not getting 5x like 3 times in the same year.
No, believe me, I'm not saying he's essential, but because he's farmable now, if someone's like, oh, maybe I'll try and build him, it's like, yeah, okay, you can. Yeah.
Right.
But,
that's
but
fair.
I still wouldn't put him on the essential list. Not with that bowl cut, no way. No way.
No way.
I actually am learning to love the bowl cut.
Are you going to get one?
Like a penis.
When I realized, well, that might be why I like it, but I realized somebody told me that's his Yellow Lantern skin, and I was like, oh fuck, that actually makes me like it a little bit more.
No, that's his purple-headed skin.
Tewty, there was this girl in college, and she had like just one of those just bob like haircuts, and for 4 years in college, her nickname was Penis Head.
Oh, poor girl. You were such a dickhead.
Oh my god.
And don't say that's actually her name. That's funny.
Her head looked like a penis. It was the worst haircut I've ever seen. And anyway.
And she would lilt to one side too, which is really weird. yeah. Her last name was Pepperoni. She would like tilt over to one side.
Oh no! Don't start saying that.
She has a list.
You know that triggers Biff.
Oh
no!
That commercial. That commercial.
Brr?
That commercial on the radio.
Oh,
I almost drive off the road every time when they start saying, side effects range from penile fracture to
penile fracture.
Penile fracture.
I've had to hear Biff say penile fracture too many times in my life.
I know. It seems like every episode. Like the name of this episode should be penile fracture.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
That'll get some clicks.
Yeah.
One of my friends, I'll talk about it after. Never mind.
No. Open mic.
Right. Well, he's a comedian, and he's a trans man. So a lot of times he'll he talks about how he uses different like sex toys or strap-ons or something like that. So he named his special "Made the Best Cock Win." Which is great. His name's Ian Harvey. He's very funny. He's super funny. But he got so many clicks just because so many people thought it was a porno. and the special's great. It was on CISO back in the day. He's super funny. Not that I'm sure the overlap between like comedian fans and trans. Anyway, regardless, I digress. The Venn diagram is literally 2 circles as far on opposite ends of the universe.
Sorry, that sounds hilarious. I love it.
He's great. God. He's super funny.
All right. Well, I don't know how to transition back to the Raid Essential list from there.
So
but
basically, we're saying lowest dark side question up on that cloud level.
Yep.
Yes.
You have to start heading in a different direction, much like the penis of someone with
right.
disease.
Right.
Jesus,
right.
So then support, we would have Hippo, Kyle, Atro, and I guess the last discussion is Tara in that category, or do we just put Tara on the graphic out by herself with Scarecrow right behind her? Just as kind of like an outlier.
I bet Moomin would love that.
Honestly, the thing with Tara, You could easily substitute Owlman or even Steppenwolf for
Right.
for Terra.
Yeah.
And it'd be, I mean, obviously you need one of those.
Those could be the
tunes, I would say, but-
situational.
So we
Yeah.
just stick Owlman and Terra out on the far right with Scarecrow standing over them.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
that'd be
great.
so hysterical if he could put like Steppenwolf crying in the corner because he's being excluded, even though he totally works in the same capacity.
Right, exactly. Like, guys.
Come on, the sad Steppenwolf, the puppy dog Steppenwolf from the Snyder Cut, it'd be perfect.
No, it was
It'd be
so sad. I used to use like just my Doomsday when I had RB2'd him. I used Doomsday and Steppenwolf against Reds, and it was so great. But then I took out Steppenwolf, and it was even better. It was so sad.
Oh, and by the way, speaking of Doomsday, don't at me, people. He's not on this list. Just
No,
one day, for the
Oh.
one day that he's using.
one red
Right.
boss. If
I
there's
love
no
using
good-
him, but there's always a better
Yeah.
option.
Yeah,
Well,
because
It's
it takes
unless
too
there's-
long to ramp.
he works on the second day big boss if there's no good bonus. That's it. That's not essential.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Biff wins.
It's an
Fatality.
escape hatch.
Right.
Well,
Although, to be fair,
I
he
don't.
was not
That
the
Biff
essential-
didn't win. I don't think anyone's arguing for
Yeah,
him.
he wasn't on
Yeah.
the essential list before, and it's not like he's
I
gotten
just
better in the last 2
every
years.
time we discuss this list, that's the one thing I get from people on Discord.
Oh, yeah.
You forgot
What about
Doomsday.
Yeah,
Oh,
Doomsday needs
Doomsday.
to be in there. It's like, yes, he's useful if you're lucky enough to spawn a day 2 boss.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. No, yeah, and it's like when we talk about essential, like for end game players, like you don't like this list, you don't need it. You can pick who you want, someone like Doomsday. But if you're a new player, you probably don't have Doomsday. So
Yeah. Don't invest in him
Yeah.
just for this.
yeah. Like there's literally no point where Doomsday is better than whatever the not
Unless,
this month, because I think the 5
yeah.
times screen is Clayface. So
But
he's
also the
not
caveat that if you love Doomsday, go ahead and build him.
Oh,
exactly.
Don't think this is a reason not to build a character you love.
Right.
Just don't expect him to perform for you in raids every time.
right. I
It's
have
like
him at
you're-
RB2, and if he gets a rework, I'm sure he'll be on this
Yeah.
list. But
Oh, that'd
By
be
the way,
awesome.
new players don't have Owlman either.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
So it's.
Terra.
I mean, so it's
Yeah.
catch-22.
Yeah,
But I
they're
mean,
not really available. It's a good point.
And I don't think anybody's saying that you can't use the raid gods in those other raids, the Superboy Prime and the Scarecrow. You can still use those characters. I want to make clear to people that those are still available for your use.
They're always available for you.
Right. They're
Yeah, I
great
you
to
could
use.
use Garth if you want to.
Garth.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I think it's the idea.
He's on the
you
big
don't-
hands list. That's the only list he's on.
I want.
And-
Yeah, I'm using Batman and him, so I can have a Wayne and Garth.
Party on, Wayne.
Uh,
Yeah.
I
Where
just
did
think the fear is like putting a character like Terra on there and then people looking at it and going, oh, when, like, okay, I'm going to use Terra this raid, then she sucks. And you're like, why the hell is she on the essentials list
Yeah.
if you don't know that, oh, she's only there for Scarecrow?
Well, that's
That's
another
it.
point why Owlman is
Yeah.
even better than Terra, because at least Owlman will give you a crit chance up. Same with Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
Like I would argue that either of them are better than Terra. And for this instance, not in general, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think the reason why Terra is better than Steppenwolf, in my opinion, is the debuff immunity for the Scarecrow raid.
Oh, right. That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
That's kind of, it's not just the can't miss, because we have plenty of good can't miss characters that are better than Terra. I think why she works there is he can't get you with all those hit chance downs.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where I think she still fits.
Good point. Good point.
So we're gonna put Terra and Owlman out in the outskirts.
right? And
with
we have
Scarecrow rooming, and we have 3 support and 4 raid gods.
yeah. I think I got to say. So just to recap, raid gods are Lois, Darkseid, Spectre in question. Raid support is Hippo, Atrocitus, and Kyle, and then situational is Owlman and Terra. Don't I get that all
Outskirts.
correct?
Outskirts, Owlman and Terra. Yes.
Outskirts. Yeah. Okay. All right.
So if you're wondering where Tewty is, he's actually doing pull-ups right now. He's time for his workout, so he's
I
he'll be
was gonna
back.
say
He's and he's doing those like things where you like click your ankles and do like the sit-ups from the bar. Yeah.
Let's work
Can
on those
I
abs.
just interject one argument on behalf of Witty since she's not here?
Absolutely.
Just to
Please.
play devil's advocate.
Yes.
What we're talking about, like these characters in this list that are useful for these situations, and Arcus is useful in that same capacity, like we're saying, kind of like Doomsday, but is also useful if you don't have any bonus tunes and you don't have
Yes.
use of those throughout the rest of the raid. Like, he's good for killing those level 68 bosses. If you put White Lantern Kyle and Arcus together, boom, you're going to have a quick way to kill level 68 bosses. So I almost feel like we really should keep Arcus in the raid support category for eliminating muscle, only for that purpose, because he has utility basically every single day of raids. If you're and he's a common character that lots and lots of players have.
And he rams fast. I mean, he's got a lot
he
of great
rams
things.
fast. Like, he's, again, I haven't used him, but just because I'm not using him doesn't mean he's not essential to a wider base of players. Like, I always upgrade the bonus tunes. Like, if there's a good bonus tune, that's the one I'm using. So I think, again, just because some players I know use him every single time, and he's a reliable option that you can count on against those level 68 red bosses every single raid, I still feel like, again, on behalf of Witty, and I kind of am talking myself into it, I think he should be in the raid support category. What do you guys think?
And well, by the way, I was in the camp of not eliminating him anyway.
Oh, I thought he was getting flicked like a booger, according to
No,
you.
I said I'm not flicking him like a booger because everyone else wants him out. I'll agree to that because I don't use him as much as I used to. But you are like, my argument for Arcus to stay on the list is that if there isn't a good green bonus, he is the best option from testing. I know Retpmus has had some good success with Cyborg, but for me, when I ran them head to head, Arcus still outperformed Cyborg. Granted, my Cyborg's L5 and my Arcus is RB3, but I still view him as a great option. I view him as the most powerful non-bonus green in the game for raids.
All right.
Maybe.
Well,
I just, the only reason why I don't is because I've literally never used him.
Right.
That's why.
Yeah, I
I
don't use him either. I just want to point that out. I don't use him, but I know that Witty uses him as a reliable option, and I know she's not here to defend her choice for that, so I just want to say that piece about him. That's all.
I'm fine leaving him on, but
I'm fine leaving him on because I still use him.
But I just I don't know.
The last few months we've had good bonus characters that ended up I didn't use him. But he has been my most reliable non-bonus green that I've had, for the entirety of the times we've had raids.
And
I've been waiting for one. What was the one we thought was going to be? Every time there's a new green, we're like, is this going to be the one? Is this going to be the one?
Right. I'm just saying, when I was talking about Cyborg, the reason I was saying that he becomes so good is because he gets the permanent strength up. It doesn't drop off. So the longer the battle, he's like Spectre and Lois. He gets more powerful, where they drop off of Arcus after he does his double slap. They'll drop off after another turn, and he's got to do that ability again, where Cyborg, he just keeps ramping. He doesn't stop.
Right. I think the Arcus one is to Sekju's point is it's more of like the red 68s that and there's no good non-bonus. And by the way, killing 68s and 90s fast,
that's what gets you to my
opinion is raid essential.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
there
agree,
you go.
because
Exactly.
you want to get up to the milestone as soon as freaking possible.
And to that point, guys, think of it this way: pair up Question with Arcus on level 68 bosses, and once he pops that 2 punch, and then she calls his assist 3 times after that, so he's going to do that punch 5 times. Your level 68 boss is dead in seconds.
Yeah.
So
sounds like he's staying.
Yeah,
All right.
I say yes. I
All
say
right.
yes.
like that's
He's back
Cyborg
on.
might work better against legendary bosses, but I think Arcus is your bread and butter versus 68s. I can't think of a better combo really if you don't have the bonus tunes.
Yeah, it might just be that because there have been so many like Question was glitched and Dawnstar was glitched. So I mean, they're maybe that's why I did, and the Starfire was glitched. That's why I haven't had to use any greens really. But or any special.
Rocket was a good bonus tune.
And
Superman was a
Rocket, yeah.
5x recently.
Right.
Superman is a 5x is a good bonus tune. He does insane damage as a 5x. So
Supergirl is a 5x coming up.
I don't know
Yeah.
how she'll be. Because
I don't know.
She slaps pretty hard.
Yeah, but because they're AoEs, they don't do as well as someone who's just gonna double
Yeah,
tap.
but at least you
I don't know.
wipe out all the minions
see.
right away.
Yeah.
We gotta try it for sure.
Who are the bosses coming up?
I think it's Superboy Prime is the boss.
Oh yeah, isn't a Superboy Prime again? So she won't be able to put any of those
Right.
damage downs on him, so she won't be
crit
doing her
chance
double
times.
sweep.
Right.
Okay,
So I don't
We'll
think
see.
Supergirl as a 5X is going to work, but we'll see.
we'll see.
Yeah.
But once again, it's a green that hits.
Yeah.
Tewty, we talked ourselves back into adding Arcus back in.
Oh God.
So the booger's been unflipped.
as a support.
As
Right.
a support because of the speed. When you generally have red 68s, he can be, and you don't have any good non-bonus, he is the quickest option under question to get rid of 68s, and 68s are what get us to our milestones
I mean, I'm
fast.
fine with it just because, like I said, we're talking from a low level perspective.
And
Arcus
everyone
is
has him, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. So it's fine. I get it.
Just
And if for
admit
some
you guys
reason
are
you don't have him, he'll
Yeah,
be
ju-
in the shop. He's
just,
common.
just admit you guys are all afraid of Witty. Just admit it right now. Say, look, I don't want to deal. I'm too terrified of Witty right now.
I am terrified
There's
of
a few
Witty.
women in my life that I am like slightly afraid of.
Yes.
And the best way to not ever be the subject of their wrath is to just make friends.
No, it honestly, like, I think because she's, let's say she's one of the top players. So, I mean, I think that, the fact that her opinion says that she's necessary, I think that
Yeah.
that should carry a lot of weight. Too.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. Like we go to
So-
Witty for comps. Like she tells us, "Oh, this is working well. Try this." So
Yeah.
I feel like her opinion carries a lot of weight, and the fact that she's not here, like I feel like her opinion should carry that same weight, whether she's here or not.
And
Yeah,
honestly,
definitely.
I fucking hate testing comps in raids. Like, I will just like throw some shit that normally works together and say go, and then I'll just wait for one of you guys to be like, Tewty, you're taking too long. Stop doing it."
Yeah. That
I'm
was
sorry I stole your legendary boss. Will you
that
try
was the
this?
hardest part about leading off when I was
Oh, yeah,
still in
that
the
sucks.
alliance was trying to find out which comps was going to work best. Oh my god.
I hate it so much.
Oh, I hated it
I'll
too.
let other people do
Two-
that for me.
2D sharing level 90s again.
Fuck you. Don't do that.
Well, also, it was almost a fluke that someone figured out that Starfire was broken, right?
Yes.
That came
I mean,
from somewhere else, I think.
I think it
Yeah.
was Zubaz that figured that out, but we we found that out like 2 weeks before the raid actually started. And then they were like, I really hope they don't fix this before raids. And they strategically did wait until after the raid to fix it. So
We need to start a rumor next raid that Garth is actually that broken tune that does a ton of damage, but be like, oh, it doesn't happen until after the first minute.
right.
That way they'll just keep trying
And he'll
it and
just one
It's like
shot
those
after
sneaky
that.
Black Adam boss stealing comps. It's like, oh, once you start after 50% damage, he can steal a boss if you're sneaky and fast enough. But
Mhm.
Right.
yeah,
That's funny.
Oh my god. Well, I've got some news for you guys. I think we've nailed down the essentials list. I think we've got it to a perfect shell. B, I don't think there's time enough for us to talk about anything else because
we got a little more time, don't we?
we're at 48
Well, I
minutes
think
right now.
We could probably do either Wazam or Shazam review.
Let's
I
do
say we should let Tewty and Retpmus do a spoiler-free Shazam review.
yeah.
What
But
do you
let me
think?
just say, if you have questions about Wazam, watch Tooty's video. Tewty just did a huge thing on Wazam, and it was pretty impressive. So I would say check that out for sure.
Yes, definitely. Thanks, Miss Junk.
You got it.
Well, Retmus, do you want to start off the Shazam review? I'm curious.
Non-spoiler Shazam review.
Non-spoiler. Okay, non-spoiler.
Shazam's dead?
Okay.
What about Martha?
Dragon Sushi? What?
That's really the wizard's real name. It's Martha.
That's how it all ties together.
Overall, in it just like in the spirit of the character Captain Marvel / Shazam, it's in good fun. It's the type of movie you go and you have a good time viewing. It's not dark or has some type of ulterior motive behind it. It's meant to be family friendly, so to speak, movie that you just go to enjoy. And I went with my family. We all went, and all of us enjoyed it. I don't really have anything really negative to say about it. I mean, of course, I would love some of the characters to be explored a little bit more than they were. But overall, it's a good movie to go see. Of course, fantastic special effects. I mean, they're great. I'm hoping they're able to do another one because these kids are aging, and they will age out eventually, and they'll either have to CGI them younger, or have some type of reasoning why they're still able to do what they do. Um, I kind of didn't like how they did Wonder Woman on the commercials, how they were just throwing her on the commercial to try and get the sales up more.
Right.
I didn't like how they kind of used her. But over the net, I mean, if it's a good movie, you're not going to be disappointed. I mean, you're going to go and have fun.
Right. I completely agree with most of everything that you just said. I went in with very, very high expectations. Because I'm a big fan and I really love Shazam as a whole.
Mhm.
I agree that they really needed to do more character development for the kids.
Yes.
Each kid had like their moment. Like they had a good, special, strong moment. But over the course of an entire movie, that moment doesn't give them enough depth, enough growth. It's just like a very strong moment for each kid, and that's fine. But you expect a little bit more from a movie like this. What they really did that I didn't really super enjoy was they spent a lot more time on the villains because they weren't from the comic books. They were movie designed only. So they were like, okay, we need to give them a reason and a backstory and all that shit. So they spent more time on the villains than they should have, and they spent less time on the kids than they should have. However, and they also, most of the time, they were almost always in their superhero form, with like I think the exception of Freddy, because Jack Dylan Grazer is an absolutely great actor and he kills that role. But whatchamacallit, I feel like Asher Angel, the kid who plays Billy, was in like 3 scenes. Like he was almost
very little.
always Shazam the whole time. So I mean, it was a good movie. It was fun, just like you said. But there wasn't as much development as I would have wanted. And you're right, they are aging, and that's part of the premise of the movie a little bit. And that kind of brings a little bit of conflict, but not much. And it was a good movie. I wished it had more to it. It was almost all action all the time and not enough build.
Agreed.
And even the action, like, I don't know, like I've kind of I know they're children and they don't know how to fight, they're not warriors or anything like that. But I kind of expected a little bit more badassery from them as well. And I didn't get that as much, sadly.
So overall, what was your if you had a score out of 5, what would it be?
How many bent penises out of 5?
Right.
Oh, geez.
How many cock casts?
Actually,
imagine?
never mind. They're children. Why did I bring that?
I was gonna say, it feels slightly inappropriate.
I don't want to turn
Not
this
for this
into
podcast, though.
I don't want to turn this into an inappropriate thing, but yeah.
That's fucking funny though. Out of 10, I would give it a 6.5 to 7.
I was
Okay.
leaning towards about a 7.
Yeah. I mean, it like Retmus said, it's a fun movie. Don't have high expectations for like a groundbreaking story, but go in expecting to smile a lot, and then you'll be happy at the end.
I really did love. I think her name's Rochelle Zellweger.
Zellweger?
Yeah. Mhm.
Her Athena special abilities. I really love the effects that they did when she used those abilities. It was kind of a like Doctor Strange a little bit,
A little bit.
but I just thought they pulled that effect off really, really well.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, 100%.
And she's hot.
There you go, Remus.
She's in
there you have
her
it.
early 20s, I guess. Yeah. You don't think Helen Mirren's hot or Lucy Liu?
Hey, I always had a thing for Lucy Liu. I mean, for like
Lucy Liu.
years and years. She's hot
Ever
as
since
well.
Charlie's Angels, she's been great.
Yeah, she's pretty hot.
Well, there you
man,
go,
that's
folks.
funny.
I don't know. I still haven't watched the first Shazam. That's how, I know.
Oh,
And everyone's
for
telling me how
shame.
great it is. Like my brother's like a huge Marvel guy. He's like, no, Shazam's great. You got to watch it. I think the last time I tried to watch Aquaman on a plane, and I don't think I've ever been more disappointed in the first 5 minutes of a movie than watching Aquaman. It was like just watching, seeing like Nicole Kidman was terrible and Boba Fett was terrible. I was like, oh, this is the worst.
Oh,
Boba Fett.
this is not this is not a spoiler alert, but for people seeing the movie, make sure to stay to the very, very end for the post-credit scenes, because there's additional post-credit scenes.
There are 2 of them.
Yeah, and there were a lot of people leaving after the first one.
They always do every time, and I always literally at the end of every Marvel movie, I always Google how many post-credit scenes are there,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
I wait for all of them, even if my bladder is completely full and I am like ready to go piss myself.
Well, you drink like a gallon of soda when you go, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't
I
think
always
I
get
made
like
it
an
through,
icy.
I don't think I made it through a Marvel movie without peeing.
Yeah.
Well, they're like 5 hours long. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wish Shazam was 5 hours long. Like
that would be a cool.
It would have been a much better movie.
You seeing people bitch at Zack Snyder for 4 hours.
Right.
No, I'm one of those people that loves long movies. Like I don't give a shit how long it is, as long as it's a good movie. Like don't make it 4 hours if 3 hours of it is shit. But if it's 4 hours and it's always good growth and like good action, I'm here for
I mean,
that.
you could easily have spent 20 minutes per character.
Yeah,
It's
easily.
Yeah.
that's the only reason Tewty loves long movies. The only reason he went to see the Never Ending Story.
Oh, I do remember watching it. Actually.
But
I was very young.
Oh,
But overall,
God.
go see it, everybody.
Right.
It's a
Overall-
good time.
overall, it sounds like a good time was had by all.
And Flash coming soon.
Oh
That's gonna
God.
be so good. I can't wait.
Flash does.
Did you guys see the articles like that? Was it Tom Cruise like
Yeah.
requested a private screening and then he's like been gushing about the movie since he saw it?
Really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't
Yeah.
see that. I didn't see
Yeah.
that.
And then I hear everybody
I thought he wasn't allowed to gush in
really
Scientology.
getting
I
on
don't know.
James Gunn for using him.
I was gonna say he must be a cameo or something, and he just wants to suck his own dick.
Yeah, that's
I
one
don't
way
He
to
was
put it.
he was supposed to be in the multitude of multiverse of madness, the Doctor Strange movies. Like
He was
everyone was
also
talking about
supposed
how
to
he was
be-
got to be Iron Man in an alternate.
Like, yeah,
universe.
multiversal Iron Man, yeah. Because wasn't he supposed to be the original casting and before, or he
Yeah.
was the alternate if they didn't get Robert, or maybe he was supposed to be the one and turned it down and went to Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah,
or I
He
don't
was
know,
exactly
also
like that.
supposed to be Green Lantern Hal Jordan, until Ryan Reynolds took it.
Hmm.
Wow. He just keeps getting screwed out of roles.
Yeah, I don't know why people want him so much. Like he's kind of old now.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
let him be. Let him do
Yeah.
his,
He's
jet
got his
movies.
Mission
And I'll-
Impossible franchise. Let him
Yeah.
Let him have that.
I mean, I loved the Maverick, Top Gun Maverick. It was great.
Mhm.
However, it was just Star Wars, Episode 4 all over again. So
I've
That's a
never
great
seen
way
it
to
yet,
put it.
so
No, they took the same storylines and how can we do the same exact thing but make it a little different?
yeah.
exactly.
That's kind of
Yeah,
how
I-
I felt about Ant-Man. It felt like it was a Star Wars movie to me.
Yeah, a little bit.
The new one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it did have that feel.
Well, I mean, Disney
Yeah.
does own both Marvel and Star Wars, so I think Kevin Feige's in charge of both of them, isn't he?
No, he just got his project for Star Wars just got shit canned by Iger.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, his Star Wars project and Patty Jenkins' Star Wars project both got shit canned.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
So he's in there making cuts. He's like, I don't like what this guy's done in my absence.
As long as they go back to the same quality as Rogue One, because they have yet to push out anything as high quality as Rogue One, then I'll be happy. But ever since that movie has come out, I've controversial opinion. I did not dislike Han Solo, the movie. I know it got shit reviews, but I actually really enjoyed it.
I did as well.
I did as well, but I completely agree with you on Rogue One.
Yeah, Rogue One is top tier.
Really,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Mandalorian probably.
Mandalorian is my
See, I kind
jam.
of separate like the Disney streaming stuff from the movies, like in my mind, because then AB and I are going to start talking about
Yeah.
Andor and why it's not a Star Wars show,
Yeah,
but I
it's
think it's
not.
awesome, and it is kind of being rated as one of the best Star Wars shows if you read what critics think. But,
Sure.
Yeah, but no Jedi's. It's a little weird. Like,
well,
what's the I don't know, Star Wars without Jedi's? All right, I don't know.
yeah, well, it's about the Rebel Alliance forming. You know,
Right.
how did the things get started? Who financed this whole operation? Where'd they get the money? I like it. It's like, you know,
Yeah,
a
but I
different
mean,
angle in the same universe.
right. But here's the thing, this is what doesn't make it Star Wars. Nobody in a Star Wars film has ever died of a stroke in a hallway in a saddest scene I've ever seen in my life. This old guy had 40 some
Spoiler
days
alert.
left to do. Oh yeah, spoiler alert. I'm sorry.
Wow. All right.
You just
Well, then
ruined it,
emotional
man.
gravity,
Yeah.
gravity in space.
Did I really spoil Andor for people? I'll go edit that out.
Oh, you're fine.
No,
Yeah,
I
that's
already-
a part of the
Haven't seen
show.
it
No
yet,
one's-
but-
no
you
one's still
can't,
watching.
'cause I just wrote it down as the title.
Yeah, no one's still watching. Don't worry
Spoil
about it.
Andor.
Snape kills Dumbledore, right?
It's been out for a while, people. If you haven't seen it, that's your own fucking
I'm
fault.
sorry.
Rate
Look,
essential
yeah.
list, and AB ruins Andor.
There you go.
Kaiser Soze.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. I suck, basically. All right. So on that note, let's talk about how I suck. Let's take it around and get everyone's last word. And we'll start with you, Retmus.
All right. Well, it's glad to be back with everybody. Of course, it's pretty much the highlight of my day. I just wanted to briefly just say, I know I always come on here and I always try and give advice to everybody, to try and do, good things for your fellow man and everything. But you've got to remember, you also have to do things for yourself. Because if you're not happy, how can you make others be happy as well? So especially, this time of year, I believe Miss Junk said it before about depression kicking in on a lot of people. And it does. It can be really hard on individuals, and you don't know the pain and stuff that some people go through. So, just take a moment back and say, like, am I happy? What can I do to make me happy? And try and do that. Because when you're happy, it shows, and you will vibrate out that happiness to other people. And that's all I got to say today. Be happy.
Well said, buddy. Be happy. Don't worry, be happy.
Exactly.
Bobby McFerrin. All right. Thanks, buddy. Biff, tell it like it is, pal.
I don't have a lot to say. I just, I'm glad, whoever just listened to this got a really good breakdown on the Raid Essentials and how we think through it, and how we make fun, how and why we make fun of other lists other than ours. That's it. I mean, I agree with Retmus. Right now I'm going through a tough time, and it's, staying positive and knowing that no matter how rough a patch is, everything's going to work out is really a powerful way of thinking. I was never really a positive person for the majority of my life, and I've just kind of figured out
we know
how to be recently. So anyway,
love you, Biff.
All right.
Raid Essential.
Raid Essential. That's it. Thanks, Biff. Appreciate it, buddy. Tewty, give us your last word today, pal.
All right, I'm gonna piggyback on Retmus's shit, and then I'm also gonna expand on shit I've said in the past, where whatchamacallit. So yes, you need to love yourself, right? And you know how in the past I said go suck a dick in a good way. Well, go get your dick sucked in a good way. So in a way, I'm gonna kind of highlight this. I recently just looked up. I got on the interwebs and I searched like personal health care, because I didn't lose my job. I quit my job that had healthcare. And now I'm like, I should probably get some healthcare. So I just literally searched up a little quote. And then the next day I woke up to like 17 different fucking text messages from healthcare sellers that are like, hey, I would love to sell you some healthcare. And I'm like, this would be a great time to leverage my penis to get sucked. I'd be like, I could easily be like, I'll let you sell me some healthcare, but I need to get my dick sucked. Like, so do what you got to do, with consent, of course.
I feel like this example would have gone better with Lending Tree.
I don't know, but literally, as I was shitting earlier during this podcast, because I stepped away for a minute, I had to take a shit. I literally got a phone call from an insurance seller while I was on the shitter, and I let her hear every little fart and toot that came out. So, because I was like, I don't need this right now. Okay,
and it's
like,
a small bathroom; it echoes in there too. It's
it
great.
is. It is. I actually flushed the toilet, and I was like still in the room, and I stepped out, and you guys were still talking about the raid list, and I was like, oh, actually, I'd rather hear the flushing toilet than the podcast going on. So, but yes, sorry. Go get your dick sucked in a good way with consent, and raise your spirits up a little bit. Spring is around the corner.
Right
Healthcare
on.
is not a necessity. It is, but it is.
Yeah,
3
it
days.
is. Here it is.
3
Oofa.
3 days.
Well, thank you,
true.
Tewty.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate that, buddy.
I'm full of wisdom
Sekju.
today.
What was that?
I said I'm full of wisdom today.
You're full of wisdom.
And it all revolves around penises.
Yes.
I mean, next time
A lot
I'll
of
try
penis
not
talk
to
today.
do that. It's either buttholes or penises. I'll try and avoid it next time. I'll do a vagina thing next time.
Roger that. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate your contributions as always. Sekju, tell us about your penis, pal.
Oh, well, he hasn't seen too much work recently. Last week, at least, yeah. I mean, well, I was going to see, you fucked this up for me, AB. I was going to mention how recently I've been to church a lot, which, given who I am, that's kind of unusual. But then it's going to sound terrible when I mention that I was like, oh, yeah, I was at church last Saturday and I actually got sex for the first time in a while, too. So don't connect those dots. But the point is, positive messaging, nothing about the penis, about the church thing. I was there for a wedding and there for a funeral. And it was really interesting to me, being somebody who's an agnostic Jew, listening to the sermons given and how uniquely similar they are in terms of the positive messaging and empowerment of life. And whether you agree with those belief structures or not, I appreciated the messaging in both of those instances for wildly different scenarios, or maybe for some people, a wedding and a funeral were wildly similar scenarios. I don't know. But I just was very rewarded by being a part of that, and I thought it was really interesting. And yes, you need to take moments to appreciate times for yourself. Sometimes even doing a favor for somebody else is rewarding to you because you get to help them in a moment of need, which was an opportunity presented to me, and I appreciated it. And I just agree that yes, you need to take time for yourself, but sometimes you can find rewards for yourself in doing good things for others too that make you feel good. So I'll leave it at that.
Say you had sex in a church on the day you went to a funeral and a wedding?
No. I was the funeral was yesterday. The wedding was last Saturday.
So you had sex in the church for the wedding day?
No. I think we're getting confused here. Yes,
that's what we said. I heard this come out of your
That's
mouth.
what you heard. Yeah, no.
It's like a porn version of 4 weddings and a
The
funeral.
sex part was at like the comfort in later, Tewty.
You're like talking about rewarding yourself for doing good things for others, and you also mentioned having sex in a church. I was like, God damn, you are rewarding yourself.
It was a busy week. What can I say? What can I say? And all I can say is, God, the fucking okay. This
Also,
one thing I do have to say: sanitation.
Yeah, watch the altar.
Well, no, just in churches in general, the holy water. Holy shit! Like, just gross. Have you ever looked at the holy water?
Oh,
like,
yeah, no.
everybody just coming in the doors and dipping, and just there's all kinds of floaties and shit in there. And I asked my wife about it, and it echoed, and it was awkward.
There's actually a type of bacteria in holy water that like most people can fend off, but if your immune system is poor, you can actually get something that will cause like, I forget the name of it, like some syndrome that yeah, anyway.
Send you right to hell, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
It burns when you touch it. I don't know. Is that normal?
Something like that. I don't know. just yes, I largely agree with what Retpmus is saying at the beginning. You got to find rewarding things for yourself, but sometimes that can be helping your dear friends in times of need. That's all. So,
Thank you, buddy. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Miss Junk, you get the bottom line today. What is it?
All right. Well, I was going to talk about crooked penises, and but apparently that's tab. Yeah, like if your erect penis, it looks like it's looking around the corner, then just snap it into place. And I think that's what I tried to do with the last guy I dated, just like snapped it into place, no, it's a right angle now. It's weird.
Oh God,
it's like it's coming back on itself. It's anyway. All right, look. Now I was gonna say most like this Raid Essential was a great talk, I think, and the reason why we have so much input and so much like trial and error is because we're in a great alliance. So if you're playing this game, if you're not in a good alliance, either make it better or move. Like you can have a great alliance. Like look, like this is like the highlight of our week. So like I love not me because I'm killing it, but but like this is a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun. Our Discord's great. So if you're in an alliance and you don't like, and just try and push them to be as good as this one. We don't win every raid. We finish top 10 all the time, but I mean it's fun. We have so much fun doing it, and I think that's more important than anything. And I want to thank you all. And
awesome.
This is very true. I completely agree.
Well said. And by the way,
game so much better.
I think I can safely speak for the rest of us when I say we're so glad to have both of you, Tewty and Miss Junk and Sekju. I think that's something. And Retpmus too. You weren't well. I guess Retpmus was original.
Pretty damn close.
Yeah. But we are so happy to have all of you guys here with us, and that's what makes. By the way,
Retpmus was so original if you actually think about it, because we thought we were going to go into our first raid with just me, you, and Witty.
Right.
And we said, oh, obviously, we're not going to do anything this raid. And then I found Retpmus. We did the merger, and we finished top 50 in our first raid.
Lurking and I were there too.
Yeah,
that's right. You were.
Yeah, you guys were the two that were
Lurking. Our mascot.
Every other twat I reached out to was like, "Oh yeah, tell me when you're 29 out of 30." I'm like,
right.
God, I hate you.
Yeah, we're 29 out of 30 and you can't join. Yeah.
I was balls deep at number 5, baby.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
What hole is that?
I don't know.
Just like,
that's Biff.
Just like on the altar at St. Pius.
Woo!
Oh.
Actually, I can't even remember the name of the churches. One was Catholic, one was Methodist. It was a very interesting couple of weekends.
Especially when you're doing it in there.
I know, right?
Bro. He's
Sacrilege.
adding a different kind of liquid to the holy water.
I'm fine. Like I said, agnostic Jew. It's all good.
Yeah, and he's telling us there's floaties in the holy water after he. Yeah.
Oh man.
Oil and water don't mix.
Or his floaties.
God dang. All right.
Floaties, not swimmers, Biff. Jesus.
Swimmers. All right, guys.
If I look in holy water and I see swimmers, there's.
Oh my God, you guys are terrible today.
Everybody's going to hell.
I know.
Yeah.
We're all
I
there.
was trying to come in with positive talk about the church, and you guys just messed it up. Damn it!
In a handbasket.
Oh my God. Well, listen. Thanks, Miss Junk, and thanks to you, the All Stars. You've been fantastic today. God, that's great. We want to thank all of you for taking the time to be with us today. Get on our website, AtlantisAfterDark.com. Grab some cool swag from the merch store, get on Discord and talk directly with us, and then hit that subscribe button on YouTube because you know you want to. For Biff, for Retpmus, for Sekju, Tewty, and Miss Junk, we'll see you all right here next time for another fabulous episode of Double AD. So long, everybody.
I can't wait to hear Witty's review.
I know, right?
Yeah, I'm glad you saved it. I'm glad you saved, like in hindsight.
Recording stop.
So let me
please make sure that gets onto the end of it, AB.